Yo, what is going on? It's the one and only Undertaker Collection Show, and it's the one and only Air Dan Airways, aka Dan the Man. You know I got the goods, and we're here with a fresh new video. We're talking about Undertaker action figures today. So let's check out different types of Undertaker action figures, because you know I got the goods.
Action figure collection?
Yes, sir.
I've got every action figure that's ever been done of me.
Yeah, let's get it cracking. All right, this is my Air Dan Airways arena. And when you only collect one wrestler, but he's had 30 gimmick changes, you gotta respect them all. And here we have an arena full of Undertaker. Because why wouldn't you want to have an arena full of Undertaker? And by the way, why wouldn't you want to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel? I'm totally awesome. I'm Air Dan Airways, you know, Dan the Man. Let's get it cracking. All right. Hasbro produced the first ever Undertaker action figure. Here we go. Undertaker Hasbro Series 4. This was released in 1992. And Hasbro made figures for the then WWF for about 5 or 6 years, maybe. Somewhere around there. And yeah, this is based off of Undertaker's early career. Then we got the JusToys. JusToys came out with these great figures that have like no articulation. You can bend them and bend them like, yeah, that's it. These are the figures. They had cool trading cards in the package, but JusToys picked up that license when Hasbro dropped it, and then Jakks Pacific began producing action figures for the then WWF. They produced the Bone Crunching line series of action figures. Now, this particular figure here does feature the bone crunching action, but is from a later series called the Signature Series. And it features Undertaker in his 1998 look. During that era, he was commonly referred to as the Lord of Darkness. As we can see here, we have Jakks Pacific Stomp Series, which featured accessories. And, yeah. Stomp stood for something. You can look it up. Special Tactical Operations Military Police. So they went on missions and they had cool accessories. Then we got the mini Bend-Ems. Who wanted these mini Bend-Ems? Like what were they thinking at JusToys? Like, yeah, let's make a miniature version of those other Bend-Ems. I you know, good. A for effort, at least. We'll give them an A for effort. And then we roll into the TitanTron Live era. TitanTron Live. Now entering the TitanTron. This is the Series 1 TitanTron Live Undertaker. And when you put the feet on the TitanTron, those little metal contactors touch the sensor on the stage, and it played the music. It was the best time ever. Best time ever. And then, for some reason, they thought we wanted these sweaty toys. Why do we want sweaty toys? Who knows? But we got them. We'll give them some credit. We'll give them some effort. But yeah. These toys, you filled them up, and then it's kind of like a squirt gun. Once you filled them up with water, they had little reservoirs, and you press the button, the trigger in the back, and they would just ooze. They would ooze sweat like a real wrestler. Like a real wrestler would just sweat all over the place. And then we've got another idea. This of course, this is from the Jakks Pacific line. This is Federation Fighters. I consider this like a Barbie doll. But on the other hand, I was just thinking about this while making this video. This could be the Godzilla of the action figure, you know, like when Lord Zed says "make my monster grow," and he throws that little orb thing, or Rita Repulsa throws her. Yeah, so if you're wrestling, this is the special. You make the Undertaker grow into Giant Undertaker, and he just squashes He squashes them and he gives them the old scythe, the Grim Reaper scythe. And that's Stone Cold's belt. We definitely we lifted that off of a Stone Cold figure and we put it in its proper place on the dark side with the Phenom, the Lord of Darkness, the man from the dark side. I said that already. These Federation fighters weren't that bad. They had the cool fabric goods, but other than that, there weren't many in the line. Then we move on to Jakks Pacific Final Count series. Final Count is like an Ultimate Edition version of the Jakks Pacific, where it's got all these extra articulated joints and features. There's extra articulation in the arms and the torso and the legs, as you can see there. And these weren't too bad, but there weren't that many produced. This is a cool. I really like this. This is the Stunt Action series. So this particular one does the Undertaker's tombstone, and you know it's explanatory. It is so explanatory. So you set the figure up right, and it does the motion. Watch. We're gonna check it out because as you can see this video, I checked this. We reviewed this not too long ago. Check it out on my channel. Stunt action motion. Let's see. Here we go. We're gonna do it. Tombstone, pile driver. Oh yeah. Lord of Darkness, the Phenom, the Undertaker, Air Down Airways, Deadman, in the house. That's right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to Jakks Pacific R3 Tech. Real reaction. So these ones feature real scale, real scan, and real reaction. That's why they call them R3 Tech. They were interactive with playsets that, such as the Trash Talking Stage and the TitanTrons. And the face was scanned from the actual face. And the scale, you could say that's a scale, but they're not really. I know they're lying there. I know you were lying about the scale of these figures, Jakks. And I'm putting it out there. Psst, don't tell anybody. But yeah, tell lots of people. Maybe we can get credit or refunds on our $8.99 action figures. You know how much we're paying for figures these days? $8.99 is a dream. Bring that prices back. All these weird figures. Why? Jakks Pacific Flex'ems? I didn't want this. This is why... This is part of the reason why, Jakks, you're no longer making toys. It's stuff like this because it just came at the wrong time because you weren't ready for it. And then we've got the dollar store toys. You got so ahead of yourself that you started making dollar store versions of your low quality action figures that I don't know. I mean, at least they were, value figures, not normally priced. But the prices, prices back then versus prices today. Inflation, economics, the economy. We're not talking about that stuff here. We're talking about Undertaker action figures. And my opinion is that Jakks did not do as great a job as what we see Mattel is doing today. Okay? But then, Jakks drops a piece like this, Maximum Aggression. Look at this thing. Tell me this is not dope. I mean, it's like the Federation Fighters too. And there are some microaggressions. I had to figure out and include in this video. Maybe we'll do a separate one. But this Maximum Aggression is pretty cool. I like how it's got interchangeable pieces. It's got changeable hands, right? There's an extra set of hands in there? Or am I just seeing things? I must have just been seeing things. I think that's a cool figure. Maximum Aggression too. And the box is cool too. Look at that. Jakks Pacific's retro style LJNs. So these are those like hard rubber toy. These remind me of a dog toy. You know, these remind me of the toy that you'd get when you're a kid and nobody wants to give you a gift because they don't really want to get you a gift, but they got to get you something just to get you something. So they get you that action figure that's just been on the shelf at the department store discount bin since the store opened. And now it's yours. And yeah, here's an example of one of the original ones. They did that with the Undertaker. And then we go on to like this other style of figure. This is like the ruthless aggression style of Jakks Pacific's action figures, where they have this like particular body cast, and it was mostly like they would just swap the heads around. To be honest with you, that's what it felt like. It just felt like a head swap, and thank goodness Mattel saved us. Here's an example of a Mattel basic action figure from the Network Spotlight Undertaker 5-pack. This is early version of Undertaker, the Western Mortician version of our favorite Deadman. And somewhere along the line, this company called Bridge Direct started making these knockoff Lego brand. And here's an Undertaker version of the Stacked Downs. These aren't actually that bad. I do have a couple sets of them. I wish I collected more, because I do remember really enjoying Legos as a child. But I'm not a child anymore. I no longer need to play with toys. And I need to be an action figure myself. That's my main goal in life, is to look like an action figure. And then maybe one day I'll be one of those rare YouTube action figures that they collect, because they're going to make action figures of YouTubers one day, if they didn't already. Check out this cool Playmates WWE Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. So it's exactly what I just said, but it's produced by Playmates. So somehow Playmates picked up the license, or was able to produce figures during the time when Mattel's been doing that. Because here we have an example of another version of a Mattel figure where that's got like an action where you squeeze the legs and the arms do something. They're called a wrecking line. You squeeze the legs or you squeeze the arms. It's got some sort of action, similar to stunt action, but not quite as fun. And then for some reason, TCG thought, yeah, we would love a modern day version of the Bend-Ems. These are slightly larger than the old school Just Toy ones. They're more like to scale with like a modern figure. And to be honest with you, I didn't want them, but I collect action figures, so you had to make it because people were going to buy them. These are not a bad idea. Thumb wrestlers. Whoever had this idea is a genius. Absolute genius. You should be sitting on a mountaintop being fanned by beautiful Spanish women for the rest of your life. They don't have to be Spanish. They could be whatever you like. But that's my preference. Thumb wrestlers. That's a great idea. Mattel did also make a version of thumb wrestlers, but this is the Jakks Pacific version with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. You could also see this 2-pack here. It's another style of Undertaker action figure. And they can talk to you, and they can talk to each other. Tough Talkers. Made by Mattel, right? These are Mattel figures. And this Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Who manufactured these? Is it Mattel? Mattel. Of course. Can do that. See how they got like the waves coming out of their face? That's totally cool, right? I don't think they work anymore. Let me see. Nope. I have stuff from 1997. 1997. Yep. As a matter of fact, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk some crap. Yeah, I've got dust from 1997 too. Mind your lips. But hold on a minute. This makes no sense, people. Makes no sense. While we're at it, here's another style of Undertaker action figure. While we're at it. While we're at it. This is a giant Undertaker. This one is cool. It's not like a Barbie. It's just like a giant like statue Undertaker with articulation. And these remind me of those big giant X-Men action figures. Explain this, okay? When was this made? We know this was made late 90s. Late 90s. This is almost 30 years old, but explain this. Can I do it? Can I do it?
Your worst nightmare. Rest in peace. Face your worst nightmare.
You're serious, right? What kind of batteries? What kind of batteries were they using? Just take my word for it. 1997. Can you believe that? It's a new style of Undertaker action figure. Can you believe it? Next up, we have Mattel Rumblers. These are just little mini articulated wrestlers in 2-packs, which is cool, you know. Bundle them up in 2-packs because what else are you going to do with just a single one of them? Well, let's take a look at the glorious, fabulous Elite line. This is honestly my favorite line of figures ever. Mattel Elite series. It just hits perfectly, I think. It's even better than the Ultimate Editions. I don't think the Ultimate Editions are that great. The Elites are where it's at. And this is just an example. This isn't the best Elite, but this is just an example of one. And here we have the Ultimate Edition, which is just way over articulated. I like that it has, all the accessories like different swappable hands and heads and entrance gear. But I don't think we need articulated toes, and I think the torsos aren't articulated correctly, in my opinion. These retro throwback superstars are cool AF. I'm a fan of these. These are cool. Make more. I need a different Undertaker. I want to see the purple Undertaker, American Badass Undertaker, Ministry of Darkness. Make them all in this format. That would be dope. AF. Agree with me. Acknowledge me. Yeah, I do like these ones. These are cool. They got the right accessories. They've got the right amount of articulation. Reminds you of like a toy, but also, yeah. Some other crossovers. We got Mattel Monsters. We got Undertaker as a vampire. It's a cool idea. Undertaker the Vampire. I don't have an out-of-box one, but this is my only one that I have. And then we got the Mattel Zombies. Definitely fits the Undertaker's character. Zombie. Here's one out of the box. This is a cool figure. I like this figure. I don't know how far up I put it, but it's a cool figure. Cool idea. And last but not least, wrapping up here, we've got the Tanahashi Bandai SH Figuarts collaboration with WWE. And here's the Undertaker one. It was a cool idea. I'm not a total fan of these, but nonetheless, cool idea. And if you're a cool fan of me, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, take care. Have a good day.